Namaskar दोस्तों. Once again, welcome to each one of you on this platform, CASA as well as educating. Today, topic of the day, technology and us. And our eminent expert, CA Arun Aggarwal ji. Arun ji, welcome to you. And our co-panelist, CA Arun Chajar ji. Arun ji, welcome to you आपका भी.
Thank you, sir.
एंड जैसा कि फ्रेंड्स टॉपिक हमने जो डिजाइन किया है यूज ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी एंड वेयर वी आर हेडिंग एंड व्हाट अपॉर्चुनिटीज व्हाट challenges we are facing in our office due to the automation at office and due to the maximum utilization of the technology, various softwares and IT platforms, how we can save our office with the cyber risk, as well as important way to manage the data security and backups. So these are the challenges at the present time due to this COVID-19 pandemic. We are using very much technology. So आज हम इस टॉपिक पर अरुण जी के माध्यम से डिस्कस करेंगे. अरुण अग्रवाल जी, वेरी नोन फेस एंड एक्सपर्ट इन गुड़गांव रीजन, गुड़गांव ब्रांच, एंड welcome to Arun session and having more than 15 years of practice experience. So welcome first time on this platform. Before I invite Arun Agrawal ji, I request Arun Chajar ji to say a few words.
थैंक यू सुमित जी. एंड रियली आज का टॉपिक जो टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो आज हम कोविड के कारण हम इसका रियली इम्पैक्ट समझ पाए हैं. हो सकता है हमें काफी टाइम लगता, लेकिन आज हमें इसका यूज और इम्पोर्टेंस दोनों रिक्वायर्ड है और हमें इसकी मालूम भी है. तो आज का वेबिनार काफी इंटरेस्टिंग और नॉलेजेबल होने वाला है. एंड रिक्वेस्टिंग एवरी पार्टिसिपेंट टू कीप द अवेलेबल फॉर द फुल वेबिनार फॉर द एंटायर ड्यूरेशन. एंड नाउ इट्स ओवर टू यू अरुण सर फॉर स्टार्टिंग द deliberations.
Thanks a lot, Arunji, Sumitji. First of all, I would like to congratulate Team CASA for such a wonderful job that they are doing. Specifically, this series of 6 webinars, which is somewhere dedicated towards technology as well. You are going to be discussing about very basics of technology today, and then deep dive into AI and cyber security later. So congratulations again, Sumitji, Arunji, for hosting such a wonderful programs. And I would also like to thank you for giving me opportunity to be here amongst you. It's always a pleasure to discuss these kind of topics with people like you who are actually spending a whole lot of time for the profession. So as we start. Let's first, discuss about what we are going to be discussing. So, हम लोगों ने discuss किया. Sumit ji very well pointed out that technology is something जो amongst the most important topic बनते जा रहा है. And COVID में this becomes all the more important. But what exactly are we going to be talking about? What exactly is it? Because technology is not something जो नया है. We have been hearing about it, we have been talking about it, and we have been using it. Let's start with a very basic understanding of what we are talking about. आज जितने भी लोग आज हमें सुन रहे हैं, करीब करीब हर किसी ने अब Amazon या Flipkart से कभी ना कभी कुछ ना कुछ मंगाया होगा. Just think about it. A transaction जिसमें आप एक Amazon की ऐप पे जाते हैं, you go there, you say buy and you make the payment. There are so many transactions that are interlinked and they happen in a fraction of seconds. आपने you go to the website of Amazon, buy something, make the payment. The payment has been transferred from your bank account to Amazon's bank account. The information has gone to the vendor कि आपका एक particular product बिक गया है. The information has gone to the logistics partner that you have to pick a particular stuff from so and so location. The vendor packs it. The logistics partners get to know about it. And you as a buyer gets to know that where your stuff is. While this is happening, Amazon has already booked an income against the purchases that you made. उसने अपना commission book कर लिया है. उसके against जो उसकी compliance liabilities थी वो उसने pay कर दिया. All of these things happen in a fraction of a second. And you would be interested to know that probably by the end of the day, अगर अमेरिका में US में at their headquarters there is a management meet, आपका जो ऑर्डर था उसका वैल्यू इज इंक्लूडेड इनटू द MIS that these guys are talking about. And this is a case wherein lakhs of transactions are happening across the globe in about an hour. This is what technology has done to the businesses. And then if we talk about finance, what has it done? It has actually led us to a state where most of the mundane task and the transaction recording जो हमारा शायद कहीं theme हुआ करता था, base हुआ करता था, that is kind of shifted to the robots and the systems and the technology which comes into play. What does it mean? It means that we as a professional will also have to start understanding कि ये जो भी changes हमारे आसपास हो रहे हैं, how does that have an impact on the way we are working? How do we move forward and make sure that we remain relevant? Probably that's what we are going to be discussing. We are not going to be getting into detail of what technology does what. We are going to be talking about how does the advancement in technology affect me? How can I improvise on the work that I'm doing? And how can I add an additional delivery line, an additional service revenue to my work with whatever is changing around me? Having said that, risk that we encounter when we use a whole lot of technology, a whole lot of internet around us, do we know about that risk, and are we taking some steps to make sure that those risks are being taken care of? So friends, that's what we are going to be discussing today. Before we move ahead, one thing that you would always be wondering is technology is something जिसके बारे में हम लोग पिछले कुछ सालों में बहुत ज्यादा डिस्कस करने लगे हैं. COVID has kind of highlighted it. But for our profession, क्या technology नया है? How has it evolved? It has evolved over a longer period of time, probably 1980s and beyond. My father was an accountant. वो फिजिकल बुक्स जो लाल रंग की बही थी उसके अंदर अकाउंटिंग किया करते थे, आज भी करते हैं, जिसके अंदर एक्चुअली अकाउंटिंग शायद हर रोज होती थी, लेकिन बुक्स का लेखा जोखा, the summary of the books was seen on a very periodical basis. You could not end up creating a trial balance basically on a daily basis. The focus was that you have a focus on compliances. आपने बुक्स मेंटेन की हुई है because income tax department मांगता है. आप as a businessman, given that businesses were smaller, आप business का record maintain करते थे, but your focus was not on real time reporting. Come today, we have shifted our base completely to a level wherein real time reporting becomes all the more important. We have all of you who are listening this, just think about it. आज कोई भी कस्टमर, कोई भी क्लाइंट आपके पास किसी भी इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए आता है तो वो लिटरली घोड़े पे सवार होके आता है. Why is it so? Because over a period of time, about every business have started getting dependent upon his data. The decision that you make after understanding the data is enormous because you are taking a decision which is an informed decision. That's how our profession is evolving. We are a professional of compliance, accounting, and the FP&A, the financial planning analysis. We are the ones who end up giving the data, a reliable data, जिसके base पे business decision लिए जा सकते हैं. And over a period of time, starting from the Bahi Khatas period to the SAPs, which was specifically for the larger and the bigger businesses, to these days, जहां हम लोग एक small and medium sized business के लिए भी real time reporting बहुत ज़्यादा important हो जाती है. In my view, that's where the importance of technology comes into play. Because अगर मैं हर काम manually करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, if I am not using different kind of tools which are helping me make sure that the transactions are recorded correctly and they are reported without any human intervention. हम लोगों ने Amazon का एक example लिया. From the time I have ordered something till the time the order gets delivered, the whole transaction flow, I'm saying transaction flow does not need a human intervention. The transaction flow does not need a human intervention. Human intervention is required to pursue a specific job, pack the goods, give it to a courier guy delivers it to you, but the information flow is literally seamless. How does that happen? It cannot happen that you have a single platform which is available to everybody. You would have multiple platforms, they are interconnected, and hence you have digitally transformed the whole business in such a manner that the information flow is very smooth. One person does not have to be dependent upon the memory of the other person for the business to move forward. Let's get ahead and discuss about where we are in technology. Do you believe that we are new to technology? You have chats available with you. You can always, write your comments there. Is it just think about it and let me know? Is it that technology is new to us? No, it is not. We have access to all the best gadgets in the world. We have been using the best tools that are available for ensuring that we are doing very good bookkeeping. We are ensuring that the data is recorded well in time. We are using multiple compliance softwares which are aligned with the government systems. The e-governance is at such a level wherein about all the tasks that we do, any conversation that we do with any government authority has an e-form available to it. Our clients are more tech related. They are able to understand the value of having a tech based service platform versus a physical manual work. And knowledge is available to such an extent that अगर एक महीना जो अकाउंट से बहुत दूर हो और वो जीएसटी को अगर कमिट करे तो शायद मोस्ट ऑफ द जीएसटी एक्सपर्ट्स को के लेवल तक अंडरस्टैंडिंग भी कर पाता हो. I'm saying GST, the same happens with TDS, same happens with accounting standards. Why? Because the information is so easily available around us. So technology is not new to us. All of you who are talking, me, Sumit Arunji, all of us have been using different type of technologies, using the best of the phones available with us, the best of laptops which are available. The government has gone to such an extent wherein the income tax, the GST, the provident fund, the ESI, about everything is very well connected, right? We know income tax to GST data transfer kaise ho raha hai. There is a very interesting case study about the passport office, the e-governance mechanism that passport office worked upon. In 2015, back then they noted that they could double their passport deliveries as soon as the digital transformation happened at their time. They are having 2 crore plus kind of hits, which is 2 crore plus kind of hits on their website that they are getting on a daily basis. एंड ऑल ऑफ अस नो, हम लोगों ने जितने भी लोगों ने पिछले 2 साल के अंदर अगर पासपोर्ट अप्लाई किया है, सो वी नो द काइंड ऑफ कंफर्ट दैट वी हैव गॉट. पासपोर्ट बनवाना कितना इजी हो गया है. यू डू नॉट हैव टू स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम एंड एफर्ट in getting it done. I remember back then in 2006 and 2007 when I went ahead and applied for my passport, मुझे literally चेन्नई से दिल्ली आना पड़ा था. आज शायद इन सब चीजों की जरूरत नहीं है. So technology is there, हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं. Why then is it that हम लोग आज टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में इतना कुछ डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? Why is it that technology, digital transformation becomes so all the more important for us today? Just think about it. Why is it that we have to discuss about technology more so again and again? ERPs were there a few years back as well, but yes, they were available for the bigger organizations. Even for a smaller and medium-sized businesses, the technology usage and offtake has gone up significantly. The first and the foremost, the businesses are becoming bigger. When I say big businesses are becoming bigger, I mean to say that businesses are churning much more transactions than they were earlier. हम सभी के क्लाइंट बेस के अंदर कुछ ना कुछ ऐसे बिजनेसेस होंगे जो कि ऑनलाइन रिटेल सेल कर रहे हैं, who have an access to who have an access to the client base of across India, or for that matter across the globe, who are doing multiple transactions on an hourly basis. We know that there are startups who are churning thousands and lakhs of transactions per day, per week, even though there could be losses. I can give you an example of a particular startup that we are working with. They do small transactions, 20 rupee, 30 rupee ticket size, 1 lakh transactions in a week. They are losing money, but they are doing 1 lakh transactions per week. New age businesses, even if it is a small business, is generating more transactions, and when they are doing more, how do I make sure that I have a better control on the numbers? Everything is being done by the system. In this particular case, for example, the whole liability, जो system की liability है, you receive money from person A receives services from person B, money gets transferred to person B, and then whenever he receives money is when my liability gets off. In this particular case, the liability is there, जो system मुझे हर महीने बताता है. But if I were to do a very simple mathematics, opening balance कितना था, कितना आया, कितना वापस कर दिया, closing balance कितना है, that never matches. Why? Because the reconciliation at the transaction level has never happened. This was a problem probably back then only for the large businesses. हमारे लिए बड़े business की जो एक definition हुआ करती थी, वो थी Tata's and Birla's, right? The big industrialists. Now, even the small size businesses have access to multiple transactions these days. And that's where it becomes all the more important for us to make sure that we have right tools, access to right tools available to us to make sure that we have control on the numbers. And it's just not about being an accountant. As an auditor as well, how do I make sure that the number that I'm auditing is correct? Till the time I cannot reconcile things. So reconciliation is something which is becoming all the more important. GST reconciliation हम सबके सामने है. 2 versus 2A का reconciliation for slightly bigger organization becomes a challenge, right? And all of us have seen कि जैसे ही हम छोटी सी technical technology based aid use करने लगते हैं तो चीजें कितनी आसान हो जाती हैं. These are the examples of why technology is becoming all the more important. Another thing that I discussed earlier as well is that real-time reporting. The real-time reporting, I said that this is something which is very important when you are taking decisions, and all the more the data is becoming. There is a saying which says that data is the new oil. Why? Because data and its analytics is the most important thing that we have in our businesses. And if that is the case, real-time reporting of that data becomes all the more important. Bigger businesses wherein a whole lot of data is there, for you to make sure that you are using the right set of data, you are looking at it in a proper right format, you have to have an access to the technology. Another thing which is very important to note is that as we move towards being part of a smaller global village wherein the access of services are available, India ko US, US ko Malaysia, India to Singapore, India to Dubai, wherein we have an access to deliver more and more services to businesses which are not based out of India. Technology is one thing which actually adds a whole lot of value to you. In our personal experiences, we have seen that as an outsourced partner, for example, when you reach out to somebody, say in a developed market, say US or Canada, the biggest value add and the biggest interest that you get would be only when you start saying that, okay, see, I am using a technology called OCR, which makes sure that I will be able to deliver quality product, quality services to you in a fraction of time and a fraction of cost. If that is the case, all the more important for us to be sure that we for pursuing our businesses. Let's move forward. We've talked about technology. Let's try and understand how does technology ends up helping me. Yeah. The digital transformation is one word that's a buzzword. We say automation. Technology aids in automating specific things. But when I say that I am using technology to automate my specific processes, I do the same thing throughout my business and then integrate all of them in such a manner that I am able to provide seamless services to my clients is when the digital transformation comes into play. I would recommend all of you to please go and have a look at the digital transformation study of Tata Sky. Tata Sky in our past few years have ensured that their business has grown multiple times while the finance department has not grown at all. people in the finance, the number of people who are working in the finance department of Tata Sky has not grown while the business has grown, precisely because they have literally automated all the major processes that they have had. Tata Sky comes from an industry wherein the revenue assurance in itself used to have a whole lot of people. Revenue assurance is an exercise which runs every month to make sure that you are booking your revenue, periodically and correctly. Why? Because every customer will be giving money for a particular period, and that will be crossing the month end for sure. So revenue assurance becomes very important, which was literally an Excel driven exercise. They have done it to such a level wherein only limited set of finance people are able to deliver a better quality, even though the scale up has happened in the business. So we were talking about digital transformation, and we said that, like the case of Amazon, from the time you ordered till the time you got the delivery, there are multiple small technological supports that I would have taken, but I have integrated all of them in such a manner that from a user perspective, it is actually as if everything is happening on its own. One thing which becomes the most important is the culture. The culture of us, the culture of the people in our organization. हम सभी ने एक चीज बहुत रेगुलरली देखी होगी, और ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीजों में से एक है कि जब भी हम किसी भी टेक्नोलॉजी टूल्स की बात कर रहे होते हैं, तो वी से दैट इट्स मच इजियर टू बाय दैट, बट इट्स वेरी टफ टू हैव एन एक्सेप्टेंस. ERP में there are umpteen examples where people have spent lakhs and crores of money, but it failed. When you say it failed, means that you could not get the desired results out of it. And when you get deep into it, you would know that the biggest reason for the same, सबसे मुश्किल जो काम उसमें रहा, वो था implementation. Implementation is one big challenge that you have whenever the acceptance of technology comes into play. That's the reason in digital transformation, one thing which is the most important is कि while हम लोग छोटे technological advancements लेना शुरू करते हैं, we start working towards our culture. A culture wherein हम लोग open हैं, we are open to discuss new ideas, we are open to experiment around that and improvise on the same on the go, because that's one thing which actually drives everything else. Let me ask you one simple question. When we are talking about technology, when we are talking about digital transformation, what is one technology that you think is the most important? You can drop it in the chat. Probably I'll not be able to read that, but just think about it. What is one technology that you believe is the most important for us to know, or one technology which will have a huge impact on the way we are working? I'll give a pause before I start. Yeah. There are multiple technologies which are available to us. We have talked about, I'm sure all of you have heard about all these technologies, and there are many more which can be added to it. I believe that we all have to start accepting that technology is not what is important. What is important is, what is a solution which fits in perfectly to my problem, even though the same problem could have a different solution for somebody else. A Microsoft could be very happy getting an RPA done for a same process, जिसको मैं अपने यहाँ पर Excel base पे कर सकता हूँ. One of the most known reason, most talked about reason why हम लोग, a small and medium sized practitioner, are not going ahead doing digital transformation or accepting new technological advancements, is that the cost is high. Yes, उसके अलावा एक ये भी होता है कि मुझे इसकी जरूरत नहीं है. That's more about culture. But एक प्रॉब्लम जो हम हमेशा डिस्कस करते हैं is कि कॉस्ट इज वेरी हाई. बट प्रोबेबली द कॉस्ट माइट नॉट बी वेरी हाई अगर हम इस तरीके से देखना शुरू करें कि क्या इस प्रॉब्लम को मैं कम कॉस्ट में सॉल्व कर सकता हूं. एज वी मूव फॉरवर्ड, जब मैं कुछ यूज केसेस की डिस्कशन करूंगा, आई विल इम्प्रेस अपॉन यू कि कैसे सेम प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन एक छोटे सेटअप के अंदर बहुत कम या बहुत मिनिमल कॉस्ट के साथ भी किया जा सकता है. फॉर व्हाट्स इंपॉर्टेंट देन इज that you have to have a solution which is a simpler solution. So the golden rule then becomes that there is no one tool which will fit all the problems of the same nature. As far as us is concerned, as far as the small and medium sized practice is concerned, probably a lot of problem का हम solution MS Excel, MS Office या Access की यूज से solution निकाल सकते हैं. हम लोग बात करते हैं मेरे ऑफिस के अंदर लोगों ने काम करना है, तो क्या मैं जो कंप्लायंस कैलेंडर है मैं इस तरीके से मैनेज कर सकता हूं कि आई डू नॉट एंड अप फॉरगेटिंग एनीथिंग, या प्रोबेबली एक बहुत सिंपल सा एक एक्सेल पे टेम्पलेट बन सकता है, गूगल शीट पे टेम्पलेट बन सकता है विच कैन एक्चुअली डू मोस्ट ऑफ द वर्क, एंड देन यू कैन अटैच विद यू कैन कनेक्ट दैट विद Zapier सो दैट आप ऑटोमेटेड मेल भेज सकते हैं. मेरा कहने का मतलब ये कि प्रोबेबली जीरो कॉस्ट के ऊपर मैं एक सिंपल एक्सेल टेम्पलेट को यूज करके एक कंप्लायंस कैलेंडर बना सकता हूं और उसको मैंने ज्वाइन कर लिया ऑफिस. Yeah, sorry, I guess there was some technical error जिसकी वजह से I was out of the discussion. So coming back to the discussion, टूल जो सभी के साथ में कोई मेरी इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट भी नहीं होती. अगर वो सब नहीं चल रहा तो कस्टमाइजेशन becomes a solution. Probably in most of the cases, as we will impress upon, हम लोग बहुत सारे काम अपने कर सकते होंगे. Let's discuss about the digital transformation जो हमारे अपने ऑफिसेज में होने वाले हैं, which is the core of today's discussion. तो हम लोगों ने ब्रॉडली डिस्कस किया कि टेक्नोलॉजी इंपॉर्टेंट है, हमें यूज करनी है, बट कैसे यूज कर सकता हूं, what are the right ways, what are the opportunities that I have, और मैं क्या कर सकता हूं, while keeping in the back of our head that what's very important is culture, for me to start accepting कि टेक्नोलॉजी यहाँ रहने वाली है और मुझे उसके साथ फ्रेंडशिप करना है. Second, cost. How can I start using it, start getting a grasp of it once the technology, making sure that the cost is not very high. I would generally split it into three different buckets. The first and the foremost, मैं अपने ऑफिस के अंदर क्या कर सकता हूँ. Are there areas in my office जिसको मैं बहुत कम कॉस्ट के ऊपर सिंप्लीफाई कर सकता हूँ और ऐसा कर सकता हूँ जिससे मैं बेटर सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर सकूं अपने क्लाइंट्स को. And I'm telling you, if you are able to do that, you would already be in the top 20% percentile of small and medium sized practitioners. Second would be, when I am delivering services to my clients, are there some technology tools that I can start using to make sure that the quality of delivery is better and can that help me scale up to the next level? It's important to know that when we start using these technologies in delivering services to our clients, we are actually keep allowing ourselves to grow much faster. Why? Because the biggest difference between a small and medium sized practice firm versus probably a big four firm would be the processes. Once we are working on a set process, we are probably providing a service which is closer to the higher expectation that most of these clients would have. Once I have done both of these, क्या एक नई अपॉर्चुनिटी मेरे पास हो सकती है कि मैं एक सेम डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन exercises that I've done at my office, and while delivering services to my clients, can I use the same knowledge to start supporting my small and medium sized businesses? आप अपने क्लाइंट्स के आसपास देखें तो आप बहुत सारे ऐसे प्रोसेसेस ढूंढेंगे जहां पर बहुत छोटे छोटे टूल्स को लगा के वो अपने प्रोसेसेस को इम्प्रोवाइज कर सकते हैं. इट्स जस्ट नॉट अबाउट दैट. दिस इज द रियल वैल्यू एड जो आप उनको दे पा रहे होंगे. Let's discuss that in detail. But having said that, a word of caution, which is very important for us to know. When we are using multiple technologies, when we are on internet all through our working hours, and this is happening with all of our employees, one thing which is becoming very important is to make sure कि हम अपने data को कैसे secure कर पा रहे हैं. Why? Because when we are working on internet, we are actually allowing external parties to take a dig on what we are doing, and hence this becomes very important that we first secure our data and then create a backup plan for the same, so that the data which is the most important for my business becomes safe. Let's move ahead and talk about the on office and processes. Digital transformation मेरे अपने ऑफिस के अंदर मुझे क्या कर सकता हूँ? First and the foremost, all of us are working with a whole lot of data these days, right? As a chartered accountant's office, probably 2 decades back, we were thought to be the ones who are the best custodian of the data. ऑफिस के अंदर बहुत सारी फाइल्स मेंटेन होती थी. जो भी बंदा काम कर रहा है वो सब उसी फाइल के ऊपर आपको ओपन करेगा, काम करेगा, रिटर्न भरेगा, वापस वो फाइल अपने डेस्क में जाके लग गई. विच मीन्स दैट अगर मेरे ऑफिस के अंदर एक फाइल आ चुकी है सॉरी, तो वो फाइल हमेशा के लिए सेव है. जब भी उस क्लाइंट के उस पर्टिकुलर फाइल पे कुछ काम होना है तो उसी फाइल का वही पेज खुलेगा, विच मीन्स दैट माई डेटा इज सो वेल ऑर्गेनाइज्ड. Come today, जब 50% rather more than that of work happens digitally, how are we making sure कि हमारी वो फाइल एक ही है और वो फाइल मल्टीपल जगह पे कॉपी नहीं हुई है? Just think about it. How many of us have a situation जहां पर employees एक ही फाइल पे काम करते हैं और आपस में शेयर करते हैं using a pen drive, or they send a mail out. At times this mail is sent to a personal email as well. So there is a term which is called centralization of database. मेरे पुराने समय में वही सेंट्रलाइजेशन ऑफ डेटाबेस हुआ करता था, जहां पर जितनी भी फाइल्स हैं वो फिजिकल फॉर्मेट में एक ही जगह पे रखी थी. बट आज when we are using more laptops, the data is getting decentralized. Then what becomes very important is to make sure that we allow and ask about everybody in our office that you should come at a particular place, work here and go back. Do not create multiple files. Why? I'm working on a very important data of a client. If there are multiple files, there are more risk of that file being misused. One, there is a higher chance of me picking up the older version at a later stage. कितनी बार ऐसा होता है कि आपको टाइम लगाना पड़ता है 2017-18 की फाइनल बैलेंस शीट को ढूंढने में? होता है ना? How do you do that? Why? Because the same file had multiple copies. XYZ balance sheet 1, balance sheet 2, final 1, ultimate final, okay final, old, new old final. And then you have versions. The point that I want to highlight to you is that it's very important कि हम अपने ऑफिस के अंदर वही पुराने फाइल सिस्टम पे चले जाएं। कैसे? बहुत सिंपल सा तरीका है। मेक श्योर दैट यू हैव वन पर्टिकुलर प्लेस जहां पर फाइल रखी है। मेक श्योर दैट एवरी एम्प्लॉय ऑफ योर्स come here, work and go back. But that cost? Probably no. You have an option to go ahead and use Google Drives and OneDrive for limited set of storage. They charge just nothing. Google Drive 1200 रुपये साल की कॉस्ट में आप बहुत आराम से 5 से 6 लोगों की टीम को मैनेज कर सकते हैं, जहां पर एक ही जगह पे फाइल्स रखी हैं. यू कैन ब्लॉक एनीबडी फ्रॉम यूजिंग दैट फाइल. मैं एक पर्टिकुलर क्लाइंट का एक्सेस उसी बच्चे को दूंगा, उसी स्टाफ को दूंगा जिसको उस पर काम करना है, दूसरे को पता भी नहीं है वो कहाँ है. एंड मजेदार बात, द डे दिस गाय लीव्स, I can stop him from accessing that file ever. Can we do that when we are allowing him to use, files? When we are allowing him to take a copy of files and the backups in his laptop in a pen drive? That's not possible. So data management is something which is very important. Why? Because you would want to make sure that you are always working on the same file. You would always want to make sure that everybody is collaborating on the same file and the effort is not going wasted. Second, and the most important is, you are able to make sure that your client's data and your data is safe. Nobody else can keep that data out of it. कितनी बार ऐसा होता है ना कि फाइल गेट्स लॉस्ट, आपकी फाइल गुम गई, आपके पुरानी फाइल पे काम करना पड़ रहा है, वो सब चीजें बहुत इजी हो जाती हैं. Yes, you have an option to use a physical server as well, which costs in the initial, whenever you install a physical server, you'll have to spend money as a capex, but the regular recurring expense is low. And then the third option, which is the newest one which comes in, which is cloud server. At 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees per month, you have access to cloud server. Want to try it? Try Google Drive, try a cloud server for 2 months, 3 months, understand how things happen, and then take a call on physical server. You do not want to spend 2 lakh rupees on a very high-end server. Spend some time, understand how cloud server works, and then move to a physical server. The choice is yours. Let's move ahead. The data management is one bit. Second bit, which is again very important in all of our offices, is कि हमारे ऑफिस में बहुत सारे एम्प्लॉयज हैं, सब काम कर रहे हैं. डू आई नो कि जो ऑडिट असाइनमेंट मैंने 10 लाख रुपए में लिया था, या 2 लाख रुपए में कोई एक मैंने छोटा सा सर्विस असाइनमेंट लिया था, डिड आई मेक मनी ऑन इट और नॉट? Do I know how much time am I spending on a particular client or on a particular project? Why is it important? It's important because at the end of the day, I need to know कौन सा प्रोजेक्ट काम का है, कौन सा नहीं है. I need to know किस क्लाइंट पे मेरी एफर्ट्स ज्यादा जा रही है. I'll give you an example. A few years back, there was a client of mine who came back to me and said, "Kisi, मेरा जो business है ना, is not doing good, and मुझे I would want you to reduce my fees." I said, "Not a problem. Let me just understand if my efforts have gone down." And he gave his reasons कि यार देखो मेरा business कम हो गया, मेरी transactions कम हो गई हैं, ये हो गया, इसकी वजह से ऐसा है. We went ahead, understood the data. हम लोग बहुत simple सा Excel template base पे record maintain करते थे कि कौन सा employee किस client पे कितना time दे रहा है. I could just very easily filter out the data और उसके बाद जाके बैठा कि देखिए एक पार्टनर लेवल का बंदा ऑन एन एवरेज 30 से 30 घंटा आपके बिजनेस को दे रहा है. क्यों? क्योंकि वो जो फंसी हुई चीजें हैं उसके लिए उसको सपोर्ट करना पड़ता है. The client who was after my life saying that the cost should be low, after that particular day never came back. He never came back because he knew that these guys know what they are doing. इनको पता है कि इनका टाइम कहाँ जा रहा है. और अगर आपने फैक्ट्स के साथ किसी के सामने कोई बात रखी होती है तो एक्सेप्टेंस एनीवेज बहुत ज्यादा जाता है. हम लोग इनकम टैक्स असेसमेंट के दौरान बोलते हैं कि ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर डे एट दिस टाइम दिस इज व्हाट वाज डिलीवर्ड टू यू. जैसे ही आपने टाइम और डेट डाल दिया, वैल्यू वैसी बढ़ गई. सो टाइम एंड टास्क आपने हमारे सभी ऑफिस में होता है. एक स्टैंडर्ड प्रॉब्लम है कि हमें नहीं पता है हमारा एम्प्लॉय कहाँ टाइम दे रहा है. Do I need to spend money in doing this? Probably no. एक छोटे से सेटअप के अंदर आप एक बहुत सिंपल गूगल शीट, गूगल फॉर्म को मर्ज करके आराम से बना सकते हैं. गूगल फॉर्म पे एक सिंपल फॉर्म बनाएं, give it to employees, ask them to fill it. क्या भरना है उनको भरना है कि डेट सो एंड सो पे किस क्लाइंट पे कितने घंटे किस प्रोजेक्ट पे दिए, बस बात खत्म. डे एंड you have a summary of information available. Month end you can just summarize and know किस क्लाइंट पे कितना घंटे जा रहे हैं. Right? Yes, there are SaaS based solution and institute की तरफ से भी देयर आर वेरी गुड डील्स जो कुछ सॉल्यूशन दे रहे हैं. आई गेस दिस इज नॉट अ प्लेटफॉर्म जहां हमें प्रोडक्ट्स की बात करनी चाहिए, तो आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट इट, बट इंस्टीट्यूट के वेबसाइट पे देयर आर सॉल्यूशंस व्हिच आर अवेलेबल जो काफी चीप कॉस्ट पे अवेलेबल है. अनदर थिंग, इंटरनली जब हम अपने ऑफिसेस की बात कर रहे होते हैं, जो आती है इज अबाउट हाउ डू आई मेंटेन माय कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप मैनेजमेंट. सीए के ऑफिस में सीआरएम, आई हैव नेवर हर्ड अबाउट इट, बट टेल मी वन थिंग, how many of us are issuing proposals diligently to all the employees, all the clients when we start working with them? How do we really keep a track of मैंने कितने प्रपोजल इशू किए थे, उसके अगेंस्ट कितने इनवॉइसेस आ गए? कैन यू लेट मी नो, और कैन यू नो दैट आपके ऑफिस के अंदर जितने भी अनबिल्ड और आई वुड से ऑर्डर बुक, नॉट आर टर्मिनोलॉजी बट ऑर्डर बुक जैसा नंबर कितना है? मतलब ये कि मैंने आज तक कितने प्रपोजल्स अपने क्लाइंट्स को दिए, उनमें से कितने एक्सेप्ट हो गए, और उस एक्सेप्टेड प्रपोजल के अगेंस्ट मैंने कितने इनवॉइस इशू किए. डू आई रियली नीड इट? ये तो मेरे माइंड में होता है, हाँ आपके माइंड में हो सकता है, बट फॉर द बिगर बिजनेसेस थोड़ा सा भी छोटा सा, थोड़ा सा भी बड़ा आपका जहां पर सेटअप हो जाता है, जहां पर 5 से 7 एम्प्लॉइज हो जाते हैं, डोंट यू गेट इनटू अ सिचुएशन जहां पर आपके एम्प्लॉइज ने सर्विस डिलीवर कर दी अपने क्लाइंट को और आपको पता ही नहीं चला. क्यों? क्योंकि मेरी कंपनी सेक्रेटरी से मेरे क्लाइंट का कनेक्ट था, मैंने उनको समझा दिया था, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी वेंट अहेड, डिलीवर्ड द सर्विस, कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेशन था, शेयर परचेज से रिलेटेड कुछ काम था, कुछ भी काम था, उन्होंने कर दिया. फॉर द कंपनी सेक्रेटरी, शी नोज दैट मेरे को तो काम कंप्लीट करके देना, उन्होंने काम कंप्लीट कर दिया, बट आपको पता ही नहीं चला बिकॉज आपके पास वो डिस्कशन आया ही नहीं. आपको पता चलेगा तब आप इनवॉइस रेज करोगे, राइट? If there is a very simple Excel based system in your office which ensures कि जब भी कोई काम होगा उसका proposal होगा, why is it good? Your client would always be happy because you are never charging him a money which was never discussed, जो भी एक problem हो सकती है. And second, you have a very good control on the way you are working. The same thing जैसे time and task के केस में है, for a 5 to 7 setup business, for a small size business, हम लोगों को किसी SaaS based solution की जरूरत नहीं है. While there are solutions available, आप बहुत सिंपल एक एक्सेल के अंदर बहुत इजीली ट्रैक करा सकते हैं. Invoice generation in itself, for example, are something that we should not do just on Excel. It should have some bit of automation to make sure कि आप same invoice number नहीं issue कर रहे हैं. Let's move ahead. Let's find more solutions that are there. There are multiple things that we can discuss about digital transformation at my office, at a chartered accountant's office. But given that we have paucity of time, I would move ahead and discuss about the other areas and avenues. जो हम लोग we can have a look at some of those avenues from our perspective. So we discussed about digital transformation in our office. Second is when we look outward, when we start looking at deliveries that we do to our clients, are there areas जहां पर हम अपने आप को better present कर सकते हैं? Can we have tools and analytics which are available before us to make sure that the services that we deliver are better, are standardized, and we can scale up them? The first and the foremost, the thing जिसके लिए हम लोग जाने जाते हैं, audit and assurance. So there are checklists and planners which are available. I'll give a very simple comparison. When you look at an audit exercise which is done by us, and you compare that with a big four organization or an international organization, the one very basic difference is that they are working on checklists. We have started moving towards that. We have checklists which are available. Can I just make sure that these checklists are linked to some analytics so that at any point in time उस checklist का outcome मैं materiality से भी relate कर सकता हूँ? At the start of any audit assignment, all of us know हमारे लिए materiality बहुत important होती है, right? Do I have ways through which I can make sure कि जो checklist मैं maintain कर रहा हूँ, पहली बात नहीं maintain कर रहा हूँ तो can I make sure that there are checklists which are there? So there are tools available. there are multiple tools available, but then there are very simple planners that you can have for your specific client. एक एक्सेल के सिंपल प्लानर को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाने के लिए मुझे बहुत कुछ नहीं करना. I just need to make sure that there is an additional column of value, and I somewhere compare that with the materiality, right? In the broader spectrum, yes, there are multiple solutions which are available, which are helping auditors take better decisions. One very common discussion these days that all of us have as an auditor is that what is my job? Is it my job to provide an opinion on whether there is a true and fair, whether the financials are giving a true and fair view, versus whether the financials are giving a true and correct view? So on one hand, we would say, no, it has to be a true and fair view, but somewhere the expectation is that it should be true and correct. And the history tells us that this is the expectation. How do I make sure, for the businesses which are generating, lakhs of transactions in a month, how do I make sure that I have a control on the data, I have a control on my exercise to make sure that no big mistake leaves me? Probably that's where some of these tools, there are very simple robotic tools which are available, which can actually go ahead and track the whole book and let you know the exceptions, can let you know the cash किस दिन कम हुआ था, whether they were big ticket transaction जिस पे आपको ज्यादा ध्यान देना जरूरी है. There are very simple IoT based tools which can actually help, and this is something जो Birdie organization में करीब बहुत regularly use होने लगा है, which are helping you ensure that month end or year end ka inventory take is right. Your fixed asset valuation is done using IoT, which tells you the state of the fixed asset, and hence can actually very clearly define whether the fixed asset requires a revaluation. Having said that, data analytics is something which actually works wonders in audit and assurance as well, because जब साल के end में we run multiple exception reports using some of the advanced tools, it can actually very clearly highlight us the exceptions जिस पे हमें ध्यान देना बहुत जरूरी है. Apart from audit and assurance, I guess accounts and outsource is another very important and big area जिस पे हम लोग बहुत regularly काम कर रहे होते हैं. And this is one area जिसमें बहुत regularly, बहुत quickly changes आ रहे हैं, which includes one technology which is worth discussing. So on the revenue side, we all know that there are multiple revenue assurance and revenue automation related work which is happening, wherein the receipt is targeted. You try and make sure that your working capital cycle is better by making sure that your receivables are good. But accounts payable is one area wherein the focus has increased significantly. How do I make sure my expense management, because this is most of the times, if the approval mechanism is clear, most of the time is a non-core area. And then there is a very simple technology called OCR, which is helping people, helping machines read your invoices. And what it can do is that it can just pick up your invoice from the specific email, read it, create a table, create an accounting entry, and post it. All you have to do is just to make sure that the audit has happened. You have done audit of the transaction before you have approved it, before it gets posted into the system, and this can actually happen real time. You would know about the travel and expense related tools that are available, जो कि एम्प्लॉय के ट्रैवल एंड एक्सपेंस को लिटरली वन डे टैग पे ले आते हैं. जो 60 से 70 दिन का टैग हो जाता था, जो वन डे टैग पे ले आते हैं. एम्प्लॉय कम्स, उसने खर्चा किया, टेक्स अ पिक्चर ऑफ दैट. यू नो अबाउट एक्सपेंसिफाई इन यूएस. पिक्चर लिया, द पिक्चर गोज टू द अकाउंट्स or to the approver have a look at it, give a business case, approves it, goes to the next approver approves, goes to the accountant, the accounting is done, money is released to the employee, probably in an hour from him actually spending the money. Does it add wow to him? Yes, it does. And does it improvise the control on the expenses? For sure. How can I authenticate an expense 6 months hence versus what can be done today, right? So there are multiple automation solutions which are available for accounts receivable, accounts payable. Reporting and dashboarding is another area which is the most important. We talked about real-time reporting. This is something which is worth trying. Do give it a try. आप अपने किसी भी client के पास जब इसकी accounting कर रहे हैं, just think about it. If there is a way जिससे आप अपने Excel का, and I'm coming back to the very basic Excel because I have a very strong belief that for us to start accepting technology, we have to start having a taste of it, right? So Excel can very well give me a taste, right? So for those who are already using it, please go ahead and start using, advanced technologies. Who have not done it, very simple, Excel can help convert a trial into an MIS every time. You do not have to spend any time in creating very beautiful MISs for your clients. Compliance management is another area which is where we are working. I guess about all of us are using some compliance tools to make sure that government side of filing is happening correct. There are ways through which you can actually integrate your accounting system with your compliance management system, so that the movement of your data from accounting system to your compliance management tool happens seamlessly. Effectively, the human intervention of moving data goes away. While we've talked about the impact of the digital transformation in a chartered accountant's office, and using that in his own way of providing services, one thing which is generally missing, because we generally haven't put in a lot of efforts towards it, or we haven't really thought about it, is that कि जब हम technology की बात कर रहे होंगे या digital transformation की बात कर रहे होंगे, could there be a way for me to drive or create a new service avenue for me? You will be able to reconcile with me when you think about the SAP and Oracle functional consultants. In your circle, there will be a number of friends of yours who were either chartered accountants, who were pursuing chartered accountants, who went ahead and moved towards a new arena, probably 10 years back or 20 years back, actually 2007, 8, yeah, probably 14, 15 years back, wherein you spend 1 year, understand Oracle and SAP, and then you become a functional consultant, and that's a very good paying job. A chartered accountant was best fit for that. What were they doing? They were actually the ones who understand the business case and convert that to the language of the technical person. So effectively, we are the ones who understand the business, who can make a business case out of it, and then let a technology person know as in what is really a requirement. It would be very interesting for you to know that Infosys and TCS of the world, whenever they are working for most of the government projects, for MCA, for income tax, for GST, the backbone for most of them would be the chartered accountant. There'll be a team of chartered accountants who are kind of helping them understand the law and converting that into forms. If that is the case, once new tools start coming before us, can't we be the one? हम ऐसा नहीं हो सकता क्या कि हम अपने clients के यहाँ जब internal audit करने जा रहे होंगे तो हमें पता होगा that this is a process which is a painful area for my client, and if I can in some way help him resolve that pain. I'm not saying that could be 100% resolution, but even if it is a 50% resolution, can that be a big relief for him? And when we start thinking about it, there'll be umpteen opportunities before us. He might not be discussing it with us today because generally I do not go ahead and discuss it with him. But जिस दिन मैं सोचना शुरू करूंगा, उस दिन मेरे पास बहुत सारे ऐसे venues होंगे जिस पे मैं उनसे डिस्कस कर सकता हूँ तो मैं solution भी दे पाऊंगा, मैं solution उसको दे पा रहा हूँगा. So just think about it, the value addition that you've done. There was a huge value addition that a lot of financial professionals were providing, which is out of the compliance management and typical accounting, this would be amongst that in my view, and I would suggest you to do have a look at it. Travel and expense, reimbursements, reconciliation, the GST reconciliation. There is one simple example of Paytm and reconciliation that I have faced in most of my clients' place. The clients who are dealing with, you know, yeah, the clients who are dealing with you know, the bigger businesses or having you know, money being received from payment gateways, or who are using uh, um, the online platforms to do their sales, they ultimately end up generating a huge set of data which needs to be reconciled, right? um, Travel and expense is a common area. Inventory management is another area. CRM is another area. So you talk about one, and there'll be just in time requirement. Just in time inventory management is a requirement for the client, and how do he make sure that, you know, he's able to manage his inventory better. So there are multiple areas which we can start thinking about, and I'm sure there'll be you know, multiple problems, and there'll be multiple solutions that are around us, which can be, you know, discussed and provided to your client. Having said that, you know, I precisely wanted to make sure that I do not spend too much of time discussing one particular you know, technology, but giving a very wholesome flavor of what is in store for us when we talk about technology. But having said that, जब हम लोग ये बात कर रहे हैं कि हमारी जो टेक्नोलॉजी का एक्सेप्टेंस है वो बड़ा हो, हम लोग ऑलरेडी बहुत ज्यादा you know, we would be using you know, a lot of tools, laptop mein, digital information is available with us, about everybody is connected to the internet, and at times that can be unsafe as well. One thing which all of us have to make sure that the data that we have is secure. So before we say that, okay, how do we secure our data, let's just understand what kind of threats that are there before us. I would generally split it into two bits. There is a threat internal to me, and then there is an external threat to me. Internal means threat that is there because of my internal systems and my internal clients. When I say internal clients, these are my employees, my admin staff, and all of that, right? Or my contracting staff for that matter. So all of these guys are using data. They have access to the data. How can I make sure that I can prevent an unnecessary data loss, an unintentional or intentional data deletion, or an extreme case of data theft? Just think about it. This is a very common risk that all of us run, that a particular employee who's not very happy with me has deleted the data, or he mistakenly deleted the data, or data of a particular client has been theft. He's taken it to his personal you know, asset. How can I make sure that the data that I have is safe for me, for my client? I don't know to what extent do we actually value this, but क्या मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ और सोच सकता हूँ, सोचना चाहता हूँ कि मेरे क्लाइंट्स का पूरा सेट ऑफ डेटा या मेरे रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम का पूरा इंफॉर्मेशन, कैन दैट बी ऑफ वैल्यू टू somebody? Can that somebody be an internal risk or an external risk? That's up to you. But the point is that there is a risk that is there because of the internal clients that I'm dealing with. I'll give you a very simple example of if at all an employee leaves in a bigger organization. एक बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जब भी कोई एक एम्प्लॉय छोड़ के जाता है, तो द डे ही लीव्स, जैसे ही वो छोड़ता है, उसका ईमेल ब्लॉक हो जाता है, और उसके जितने भी डेटा का जो उसके पास यू नो, कनेक्टिविटी होता है, एक्सेस होता है, दैट गेट्स ब्रोकन. आई कम फ्रॉम एन इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग बैकग्राउंड जहां पर डेटा बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट to such an extent that when somebody is asked to go, he's asked to go in a matter of minutes. The time when he is told that you are asked to go, कि आपको बताया जाता है कि आप जा रहे हैं, उसी समय आपके सारे एक्सेस बंद कर दिए जाते हैं. Which means that अगर मैं चाहूं भी तो भी मैं किसी चीज को एक्सेस नहीं कर सकता. मेरे यहाँ पर शायद इतनी जरूरत ना हो, बट क्या मेरे पास ऐसा कंट्रोल होना चाहिए कि मैं उस डेटा को किसी भी तरीके से किसी भी इंटरनल क्लाइंट से बचा सकता हूं, अगर वो हमारे यहाँ से जा रहा है तब भी. I have come across multiple situations जहां पर सेम ईमेल आईडी का यूज मल्टीपल ईयर्स तक चलता रहा, इवन आफ्टर एम्प्लॉय लिस्ट। एक आर्टिकल था, उसने यूज किया, और उसके बाद his email address is being used even today, right? So that's one type of a risk. Second risk जो कि डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन में ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट बनता जाता है is the external risk. So there are different kind of risks जो हमारे आसपास घूम रहे हैं, in the form of virus, in the form of ransomwares. So we recently heard about a ransomware attack in Haldiram, but before that we know that there have been attacks, ransomware attacks on the chartered accountants as well. While I know of a very few people who had to unfortunately pay some money as well to get the money out. मैं एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग चीज बोलता हूँ, रैंसमवेयर की बजाय, मतलब अगर आप पुरानी मूवीज में देखें तो बच्चे को किडनैप कर लिया जाता था और बोला जाता था कि बॉस अगर आप कोई बच्चा सही सलामत चाहिए तो यू हैव टू पे मनी, पैसा देना होगा। आई गेस डेटा के साथ भी वही किया जा रहा है। अगर आपने किसी रैंसमवेयर अटैक को, किसी सिचुएशन को देखा हो, तो आपका डेटा एनक्रिप्ट हो गया है, मतलब आप अपने लैपटॉप को ओपन नहीं कर सकते हो। आपके पास एक लेटर आता है, लिटरली लेटर आता है, जिसमें लिखा होता है कि आपका डेटा जो है वो एनक्रिप्ट हो चुका है, अगर आपको डीक्रिप्ट कराना है तो एक्स नंबर ऑफ बिटकॉइन देने पड़ेंगे। You pay the bitcoin and the data is released. You do not pay the bitcoin, the data is gone. Now what do I do? How do I make sure कि मैं अपने डेटा को इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल थेफ्ट से बचा सकूं? इंटरनल थेफ्ट से बचाना है तो वेरी सिंपली मेक श्योर कि आपने सेंट्रलाइज डेटा यूज किया हुआ है। मेक श्योर कि जो डेटा सेटअप है वो ऐसा बनाया है कि कोई भी बंदा अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लीव करता है तो इन अ क्लिक ऑफ बटन आप उसके एक्सेस बंद कर सकते हैं। देयर आर वेरी सिंपल टूल्स अवेलेबल दैट कैन, गुम हो गया तो आप रिमोटली उसका सारा डेटा डिलीट कर सकते हैं। आप अपने आईटी के जो सेटअप में जो भी आपको सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, यू कैन वेरी वेल आस्क देम कि प्लीज सी कि क्या मैं अपने लैपटॉप से यूएसबी को डिसेबल कर सकता हूँ। मतलब ये कि मैं यूएसबी का निकालना, यूएसबी से डेटा रिमूव ही नहीं कर सकता है कोई। कैन आई मेक श्योर दैट आई have my own website, I have my own email addresses that I have given to my employee, which means कि मेरे क्लाइंट्स मेरे एम्प्लॉय को जब ईमेल करेंगे तो वो मेरे एनवायरनमेंट में ही करेंगे। अगर वो मेरे एम्प्लॉय के जीमेल पे कर रहे हैं तो मेरा कंट्रोल से बाहर चला गया, बट अगर मेरी फॉर्म की ईमेल पे ही मेल आ रहा है तो इफेक्टिवली मेरे ही एनवायरनमेंट में रहेगा, राइट? हैविंग सेड दैट, आई हैव टू मेक श्योर कि जो बैकअप्स हैं वो मैं बैकअप्स को बैकअप की तरह मेंटेन कर रहा हूँ, मेल में उसको शेयर ना कर रहा हूँ। So there are very simple ways through which आप अपने USBs को ब्लॉक करा सकते हैं और अपने ऑफिस के जो लैपटॉप्स और कंप्यूटर्स हैं उसके अंदर पर्सनल ईमेल्स, फेसबुक्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट को ब्लॉक करा सकते हैं अगर आपके बिजनेस की वो रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है तो, एंड दैट हेल्प्स यू इंप्रूव प्रोडक्टिविटी एज वेल। सो आई हैव एडेड दैट हियर फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर रीजन। When it comes to external theft, again, there are very simple antiviruses which are available, जिसके थ्रू आप बेसिक वायरस अटैक से बच सकते हैं। You can go ahead and get some basic settings changed in your computers to make sure कि chances of ransomware attacks और वायरस अटैक्स कम हो जाए। ransomware और वायरस अटैक्स कैसे होंगे, किस फॉर्म में आएंगे? In the form of an executable file जो डिलीवर हो रही है आपके लैपटॉप में या कंप्यूटर के अंदर, राइट? एंड देयर आर वेरी सिंपल ट्रिक्स एंड टेक्निक जिसकी बेस पे आप ये इंश्योर कर सकते हैं कि कोई भी अननोन डेटा मेरे सिस्टम के अंदर डाउनलोड हो ही नहीं सकता। अगर आपने वो किया तो आपने ऑलरेडी बहुत ज्यादा रिस्क को रिड्यूस कर दिया है। इफ एट ऑल यू आर यूजिंग अ सेंट्रलाइज्ड डेटाबेस और डेटा सर्वर, there are ransomware protection that is available to you. You can go ahead and do that. Having said that, there is still a risk, and if there is a risk, there should be a backup plan available to you. And when we are saying backup, again there are multiple backup solutions before you. अगर आप कोई बैकअप नहीं कर रहे हो, आप अपने यहाँ हार्ड डिस्क, फिजिकल हार्ड डिस्क के अंदर डेटा को बैकअप कर सकते हो। फाइल रिमेन्स विद यू, आपको जैसे यूज करना है कर सकते हैं। यू कैन डू इट ऑन अ पीरियोडिकल बेसिस, जिसका मतलब हुआ कि अगर मैं संडे डेटा का कॉपी करता हूँ तो अगर भगवान न चाहे ऐसा कुछ हो कि मेरा डेटा लॉस हो गया तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा एक हफ्ते पुराना डेटा लॉस हुआ। अभी रिसेंटली मेरे एक फ्रेंड के साथ ऐसा ही हुआ कि ही गॉट अ रैंसमवेयर अटैक, बट बाय गॉड्स ग्रेस ही हैड अ हार्ड ड्राइव जिसके अंदर उसके पास डेटा अवेलेबल था. ही सेड नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम, मैं अपने लैपटॉप को वाइप आउट करता हूँ, उसको रिफ्रेश करता हूँ और अपने हार्ड ड्राइव से बैकअप मेंटेन कर लेता हूँ. तो आई कुड सेव माई सेल्फ फ्रॉम दी ransomware attack related issues that I had. सेकेंड वेरी सिंपल वे इज, आप गूगल ड्राइव और वन ड्राइव पे अपने बैकअप को मेंटेन करा सकते हैं. इफ एट ऑल यू आर यूजिंग गूगल ड्राइव और वन ड्राइव एज अ सेंट्रलाइज्ड सर्वर फॉर यू, आपका एक सेट ऑफ डेटा बाय डिफॉल्ट क्लाउड पे पड़ा होगा, एंड दे डू नॉट रियली कम वेरी एक्सपेंसिव. अगर आप ये दोनों कर रहे हैं, देन यू शुड ऑलवेज थिंक अबाउट image based cloud based backup, जो क्या करता है कि आपके सिस्टम को ऑन अ पीरियोडिकल बेसिस इमेज फॉर्मेट में सेव करता है, इंक्रीमेंटल इमेज फॉर्मेट में इन द क्लाउड. ये आपको रैंसमवेयर से बचा सकता है. व्हाई? बिकॉज इंक्रीमेंटल डेटा मतलब ये कि कल से आज तक मैंने जितना एडिशनल काम किया सिर्फ उतना ही डेटा यहाँ से कॉपी होता है और वहां सेव हो जाता है. तो जब मैं चाहूँ, जिस दिन का डेटा चाहूँ उस दिन का डेटा रिट्रीव कर सकता हूँ. comes at a cost, but not really a bomb. For sure, not really a bomb when you compare it with a ransomware related issue. So, before we move ahead, let's just recap very quickly. Data security बहुत important है. इंटरनल थेफ्ट से बचाने के लिए सिंपल सिस्टम चेंजेस करें. कोशिश करें अगर हम की डेटा को ईमेल से ना ईमेल से ना शेयर करवाएं. अपने यूएसबीज को ब्लॉक करके रखें. एक्सटर्नल थेफ्ट से बचने के लिए वेरी बेसिक वी मेक श्योर कि हमारे पास प्रॉपर एंटीवायरसेस हैं सभी सिस्टम्स में. और अनड्यू अनऑथोराइज्ड इंटरनेट का यूसेज जो है उसको लिमिट करें, तो हम अपने आप को काफी हद तक अपने डेटा को सिक्योर कर सकते हैं, प्रोडक्टिविटी इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं. एंड एट द सेम पॉइंट इन टाइम बैकअप सॉल्यूशन बहुत जरूरी है. कोई ना कोई डेटा बैकअप का सॉल्यूशन अपने पास होना चाहिए. I guess this brings me to the end of the three topics that I was to cover today. Before I end the discussion, I would want to share a very interesting video with you. Please bear with me and have a look at it. Just a minute, yeah. I guess some problem. Just a minute, yeah.
अरुण जी प्ले नहीं हुई है अभी.